So are you ready? Yesterday I posted a video saying that I had a massage with Leon. You were really interested in it, so I'm recording my video review because it was really intense. I left a question box on Instagram because I got a lot of questions here. How did it all go? We met, and by the way, he had this certain vibe. At first, he was reserved and very professional because I imagined that there would immediately be some flirting, some kind of connection, since massage is, well, very intimate. But no, we met in a very professional, work-focused atmosphere, which, by the way, was really great because I didn't feel at all like he was trying to do anything sexual. No, he came purely to work, and he was there for me and my request. And everything was very professional. And that also gave me a sense of safety and the understanding that he wasn't just some guy who came to undress me and do something to me. First, we discussed my request, he asked some additional questions, and we talked in great detail about how everything would go. He demonstrated on me what movements there would be, what the stages would be. He asked what kind of movements, what movements I like, what I don't like, what's okay for me, what's not okay for me. And this also made the whole practice feel safe. And also, at any moment, I could stop everything, say, change the movement, stop, or even say, let's end this altogether. And it's very important that this was discussed at the beginning. And then we were looking for my erogenous zones. I undressed, he stroked, touched, in a certain way in different places on my body. And I was giving feedback on how pleasant it felt to my body here, whether it was about arousal or about relaxation, or if I didn't feel anything at all. Then the actual massage itself took place. And the next question is whether there was sex and why Leon was naked. Let's address this question. What was your intention going in, and why did you need this at all? Why was it necessary? If you're wondering where I'm looking, I just have a notebook here with your questions. I think the issue and situation I went in with is something very familiar to many women. It was about my negative experience, about my negative experiences in interactions with men. Each of us has our own sexual history, which begins with, even from childhood, from exploring ourselves when we started masturbating as kids. Then comes the first sex, then partners. And this experience forms certain triggers in our bodies and a certain attitude towards sex. So, for example, if I say the word sex right now, what emotions does that evoke in you? Is it more about pleasure, about love, about connection, about intimacy for you? Or is it about shame for you? My sexual history had a certain traumatic period. This happened when I first started having sex. It started when I was 14 with my very first boyfriend, and I was in a relationship for quite a long time. I was in a relationship for 7 years with that same first sexual partner. And over those 7 years, I came to hate sex. Because for me, sex was about pain. For me, sex was about thinking, when the hell is this going to be over? And during the act, I wasn't thinking about my own pleasure. I was thinking how great it would be when this is finally over. And it would be great if he finished as quickly as possible. Why did this happen? Because back then, I barely knew myself at all. I rarely even had orgasms by myself, meaning I didn't know my own body, I didn't know what to do with it or how to bring it pleasure. And similarly, if you don't know what to do with yourself, then no one else will know what to do either. Our pleasure is entirely our own responsibility. Completely. Well, okay, maybe 90%. At that time, my partner and I had very different sexual constitutions. He wanted sex very often, while I wanted it very rarely, because why would you want something that causes you pain and doesn't bring you any pleasure? Of course, your libido will just be at rock bottom. We want what brings us joy, happiness, and physical pleasure. Then we'll want it all the time. Libido also depends on our subconscious beliefs about sex. So it's not just some physiological thing that's one way in one person and different in another. No. Libido changes over time depending on how you work on yourself, on how you get to know yourself. As you open up your sexuality, libido grows very well. I felt all of this very strongly in my own experience. And what was my trauma really? It was that when my beloved partner truly desired my presence, he consistently and unequivocally demonstrated it with an incredibly intense and undeniable passion. He would come right up to me, touch me, and start saying, "Come on, come on, come on." And there was basically no foreplay. I always felt like there was probably something wrong with me. Why do I not want sex at all? Why do I not get aroused at all? Why does it hurt when he enters me? And I really felt broken, like there was something wrong with me. And people even told me that. Like, fuck, why? Why is this happening? And we had a lot of fights and conflicts because of this. So, can you imagine what kind of association I have with sex? One that hasn't been worked through in 7 years. From that kind of relationship. After that relationship, I probably spent about 2 years without any sexual interaction with men at all. At all, because I was like, okay, this topic is closed for me. But then I truly started to deeply explore myself. I began to genuinely explore my own body. I thoroughly explored what genuinely feels good and right to me. And overall, I discovered a profound sense of well-being. I really developed a lot in my sexuality, but in a kind of sexuality that's not about interacting with men, but about interacting with my own body, about how to give myself pleasure. That is, by myself, I have absolutely mind-blowing orgasms, and these are very, very intense sensations, some of the strongest feelings you can possibly experience. And so it turned out that I have these two very different stories. One story is about sexuality in the context of men, and the other story is about sexuality in the context of me with myself, my body, my interaction with my own body. And it's like these are two very different stories. And if in one of them I've developed myself quite a lot, then in the other, well, there's a lot of pain there, a lot of fear. And finally, I've really come to the point where I very much want to heal this. And right now, I'm on that path. And I had a very, very strong and profound feeling that what I truly and deeply needed on this particular journey, this significant personal quest, was specifically a man. A male guide, a supportive and understanding male figure who would genuinely give me a new, positive, and deeply transformative experience. And you know, there's also this common and often unspoken thing with women when we don't feel like we're consistently and completely getting exactly what we desire and truly want from sexual intimacy. And the exact satisfaction that we desire, those movements, I don't know, those sensations that we want from it. Because as it was with me, it was like the guy was taking me, I allowed it to happen, his desire was so intense and, I don't know, fast. I mean, it's nothing for a guy to get aroused and go through the whole sexual interaction when he wants a girl. It all happens very quickly. And with all this intensity, I just didn't have time to feel what I actually felt, what I really wanted, whether I liked this movement or not, because it was all just go, 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 go. And that didn't help me learn at all, or, I don't know, respond. To do things differently, to ask, to slow down, because it just drove me into some kind of stress and fear and killed all my love for sex. And it took a very long time to even understand what was happening, what I was feeling, and to figure out what I actually needed to work on. And it takes a lot of effort, and I really understand girls who have some kind of fear of sexual interaction or who have negative triggers related to sex. I just want to say that all of this can be truly healed, and that sex can be an incredibly amazing and deeply fulfilling experience in your life. It can be such a profoundly satisfying area. It can be something that genuinely gives you wings, that gives you a sense of freedom and joy. Contact with the body, even God, contact with your own soul, contact with the spirit, with the world. You can have such deeply spiritual experiences through sex when it's of high quality, when it's the way you want it to be. It's not even the man's skills that matter, although that's also very important. A man's skills are, I don't know, in my case, it's 10% of my satisfaction. A full 90% is precisely what I inherently know, what I truly desire, and what I confidently take for myself. I enjoy myself in this process. And I feel that I am in total safety, that all of this is happening right now for me. I feel the other person as the source of my pleasure. It's not even that he's taking me, but that in this process I am totally taking what I want. And even if he is taking me, I allow it to happen because I like it that way. I had a lot of experiences where I wasn't in control of the process, and it went the way the man wanted, When we feel like we're not in control of something, we lose this ground, the foundation on which everything is built. That's safety, a total sense of safety. That's when we want to experiment. That's when we want to enjoy ourselves, to engage in sexual contact, to feel all these emotions. Because there is no sense of safety, there are a lot of triggers and moments that make you worry. And all of this turns the sexual process and sex in general into a battlefield, a source of suffering, even more than pleasure, when there is no safety. Oh, in short, safety is key. The experience with Leon gave me the feeling that now I know what it's like when there is safety. Alright, so go ahead and read your next questions. And during the massage, does he go inside, or is it only on the outside of the vulva? He goes inside. Why do people even do these kinds of practices? What's the point? Well, I think I've already explained this point, what the meaning was for me in having a positive experience with a man and in working through my sexual traumas. That's what the point is. How did Leon react to your request? He, by the way, reacted very coolly because he shared with me that he often has superficial requests during massages. Superficial, like, just make me squirt. And there is no healing purpose in this, but I had a purely healing purpose. And I felt that he was really happy to actually help me. And he felt that this was very meaningful for me and that he was truly impacting my life right now, influencing my sexuality and sex life. Why did you go to him if you wrote that you have a potential boyfriend? Well, first of all, he's just a potential. Secondly, I wanted a professional interaction. I mean, I don't use guys to be my psychologists or my healers. No. There are special people for that whom you turn to. And Leon, in my case, was a special professional whom I approached with a specific purpose. But if I had a boyfriend, I wouldn't go for a yoni massage because that's my stance. When I'm in a relationship, I don't have any sexual interaction with other men on the side. And I want my partner to have no sexual interaction either, on the side as well. So if I were in a relationship, I might address my issues with a sexologist, meaning without penetration. By the way, here's a question. Would you be jealous if your partner went for the same kind of massage? Or maybe I just wouldn't like it, and that's low self-esteem. Or is it just stereotypes? No, it's not low self-esteem, it's not stereotypes. You just decide for yourself what feels okay to you. Whether open sexual relationships are okay for you or not. Was there anything that made you uncomfortable? Well, at first, yes. At first, overall, I felt quite reserved. Up to a certain point, I don't know, maybe half an hour passed before I fully relaxed. After that, I didn't feel any discomfort, but there was one moment when I even cried because one of my triggers was activated. A certain memory came up, and that truly brought me to tears. And I immediately asked him to stop, and we just stopped right there. I lay down and I gently told him that something profoundly significant had happened to me, and he was incredibly understanding and compassionate about the entire situation. At that moment, I felt once again completely safe. That my emotions are being heard, I once again reassured myself that I can stop at any moment, that I am in control of the whole situation. And at that moment, I realized, damn, this is exactly what I wanted so much. When this process is happening, for me, it's entirely focused on me. For my pleasure, totally just the way I want, that I can realize all of this. I don't know, all my desires, all my energy, that there is space for it. I have a lot of sexual energy, it's abundant in me. And it seemed like it was finding an outlet, but not completely. It was finding an outlet in projects, in my blog, in interacting with myself. But it still felt like there was a missing piece of the puzzle. Specifically, it's about a quality interaction with men, one that I would really enjoy. Just like I enjoy being with myself. And yesterday, that missing piece was found. It all came together, and I honestly feel as happy as I possibly can. And I feel like a new path is beginning for me. A new chapter in my sexual story, one that's going to be completely different. In short, I'm honestly satisfied. I think I've said everything. If I forgot something, just ask in the comments and I'll reply there. Again, I want to repeat that I'm creating my own project. It will help women get to know their bodies, There will be high-quality products for discovering yourself and your sexuality. There will also be practices for unlocking your sexuality. The launch is coming soon, so follow me on Instagram and stay tuned. I'll announce everything there. Bye.